Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I was in the mood to make a video and I've been meaning to do this one for a little while because I have actually built up a list of fragrances I want to own, and it's been a while really since I've really been that into fragrance. I'm starting to get back into it now. I've recently bought some samples. I got a new bottle of perfume when I went to France back in June. So I've talked about that already. 31 Rue Cambon from Chanel, which I really love. So I got that at the duty free. And yeah, I'm just getting really right back into it and was thinking about what I want to buy, because there's two that have been on my list for a long time that I really want quite soon, and I'm going to save those till last. Some of you might already know, but here is a list of fragrances that I really want to own at some point. I am not going to go and buy them all. I'll probably never own them all, unfortunately, and some of them I've owned before and actually sold and wish I hadn't. Yeah, absolutely not condoning going out and buying a ton of fragrances all at once. It's something that maybe a YouTuber will do, and of course if you've got a massive budget and you want to have a lot of fragrances, no shame on you whatsoever. I'm not throwing any shade there, but if you're just an everyday person who wants a collection of fragrances that you're going to use and love, then going out and buying everything on your wish list all at once, certainly for me, feels a little silly. So I'm not buying all of these, but I am hopefully slowly, as and when I see a good deal or a second-hand bottle, something like that, I will hopefully slowly add these to my collection. But the final two, I think I'm buying myself for my birthday in September. So let's get on with it, because that was quite the intro. For me, I tend not to do intros that much. So yeah, you had 2.5 minutes of me waffling. Let's get into it. First one on my list is one I tried a while ago, and I got a 10ml travel spray from what used to be called Hoo Ha, and they're now called Scent Social, and I've checked and they don't have them anymore, so that was quite a long time ago. And it's Frassai, that's the brand, and it's called Verano Porteno. Now the perfumer is I always do this wrong, I always get the names in the wrong order. Rodrigo Flores Roux, who is famous for Tom Ford's, I want to, what is up with me? I can't talk. It's Rodrigo Flores Roux did Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino, which I absolutely love. And I do think he's the master of a musky citrus floral. And that's what Neroli Portofino is. And also that is what Verano Porteno is. So the notes are bergamot, cardamom, clementine, cedrat, magnolia, jasmine, something called al-heli, which I forgot to look up. So I will look that up now and put it on the screen. I have no clue. Vetiver, ambret, and mate, which I think is a tea. So came out in 2017. The price for a bottle is $190 US dollars. It's quite a lot. I think it's going to be about 150, 160 pounds, and that's a 50ml. It's a bit pricey. I don't think it's quite worth that price tag, but I do really like it. So if I can find a deal at any point, I would love to add it. So the thing that I get from it is it's mostly a fresh, breezy jasmine scent that's musky and airy and light. I have made some notes on all of these in the feeling that I get from them, because I think that's really important. And when I was wearing, and I did use up the whole 10ml, and when I wore it, I always felt breezy, I felt put together, I felt pretty. So I've said this is a breezy daytime, floaty dress kind of fragrance. So I really like that one, but that price tag's a touch high. So that's why it's the first one. So these are in order of how quickly I want to add them to my collection. And I will save in the ones that I really, really want till last. Hope that makes sense. The next one is discontinued, and it's from Guerlain, and it's called French Kiss. Now there is a fragrance called Rose Sherry that is available in the La Matière line. and it's really similar to French Kiss. I've had samples of both. I've gone through a decant and a couple of samples of French Kiss, and I've gone through a couple of samples of Rose Sherry. I like Rose Sherry, but it's not quite the same as French Kiss. I can't quite pinpoint what the differences are, but I think Rose Sherry is a little spicier, just a little sharper. It's not so soft and sweet and fluffy. So French Kiss has raspberry, lychee, violet rose, heliotrope, vanilla, iris, white musk. That's the notes. It doesn't say on Fragrantica who the perfumer was. I think it might have been Sylvain Delacourt. If not, it was probably Thierry Wasser. But we're going back to 2014 when that one came out. As I say, it's gone now, but very occasionally bottles come up on eBay. I know Lizzie over at Rose and Jones, and if you don't know who she is, you absolutely must go and follow her here on YouTube, because she is amazing at describing fragrances, and she has a really fabulous array of fragrances. So she's got really great taste, lots of different things going on in her collection, and she has managed to get herself a bottle of French Kiss from eBay. So they are out there, and if at some point one comes up and it's not too expensive, then I would buy it. It's quite linear. That's the con for me. It's really pretty. I remember when I wore some from a sample, and then I bumped into an old friend I've not seen for years at the supermarket, and she went, "Oh, you smell nice," and I was wearing French Kiss. It's a pretty fruity, so you got raspberry, and you got this raspberry violet rose combo, so you got that kind of lipsticky thing going on, but it's powdery, it's sweet with the vanilla, there's a syrupy nature to the fruits, and it's almondy because of that heliotrope. It's just really appealing. It's really, really pretty, and I would love to have it. It's not one I would wear loads because it is a bit linear, so it doesn't change much on the skin, and that means that as I'm wearing it throughout the day, I start to get bored because it's not doing anything. So that's the con to it, which is why it's up higher on the list. The vibe I've put here is flirty, date night, and youthful. That's what I think French Kiss is. So the next one, I'm sticking with Guerlain because I do like Guerlain. They do make really good fragrances. And it's Bois d'Harmonie, and this is one I used to own. I don't think I sold it. I actually used the bottle up and decided I didn't need it anymore. I wasn't going to replace it. So Bois d'Harmonie came out in 2006, and the perfumer is Annick Monado. Annick Monado does wonders with vanillics, ambers, resins, that kind of thing. I think she's an absolute whiz, and Bois d'Harmonie is no exception. It's a really fabulous fragrance. Notes are iris, incense, pink pepper, benzoin, gaiac wood, coriander, copaihu balm, patchouli, and white musk. Interestingly, Fragrantica doesn't list vanilla, and I would describe Bois d'Harmonie as a vanilla-centric fragrance. So if you don't like vanilla, I would leave it well alone. So Bois d'Harmonie is on the Guerlain website. The retail price is £290 for 100ml, 410 for 200ml. But these new L'Art et la Matière bottles are coming up on eBay at about half retail price for the larger sizes. I'm seeing the 200mls are selling for about £200. I don't think that's too bad for a really good quality fragrance. If you obviously, you have to love it, of course. And yeah, I think that is one I might end up piping for if I get a deal like that. So, I mean, it's been a long time since I smelt it, but Bois d'Harmonie is based on the Papier d'Harmonie papers, which is an Armenian paper, and you burn it like an incense. You light the end of the paper, blow it out, and then it just smoulders and it scents the room, and it's soaked in benzoin, so you have that sweet vanillic resin smell. And yeah, I really like it, and I think it imitates that very well without being flat and linear. I mean, I can't remember how the development goes, it's been so long, but I would say that it is pretty vanillic in the dry down. That's the one thing I do remember. So yeah, I think that's probably why I ended up not replacing it, because I just felt, do I need another really vanillic fragrance in a very vanilla heavy fragrance collection? But actually I would love to have it back. It's been a while now and I think I want it back. So the vibe I get from Bois d'Harmonie is cozy cuddles and caresses. I do think it's a really lovely indoors, by the fire, in the autumn maybe. It doesn't need to be cold, but I just feel like it's a cuddling kind of fragrance, very cozy. Another one that has got me compliments. So moving on to another guerlain, and don't worry, this is the last guerlain, and I'm actually really surprised at myself, but I really want a bottle of Jasmine, now how do we say this, Bonheur. So I wrote Jasmine Bohème. I think I'm mixing up fragrances here. It's Jasmine Bonheur, and the perfumer is Delphine Jelk. Came out last year, 2022. I'm surprised at this. I did have a decant. I think I had a 5ml decant, and I ended up using it all up. I have reviewed it, so I will link that review in the description box below if you're interested. The notes are apricot, bergamot, jasmine, orange blossom, rose, iris, and violet. And this one's a really fun one. It's quite chalky and powdery. It's definitely a jasmine centric fragrance, but you do really get the iris and the violet as well. And yeah, just generally sort of powdery, a little bit sweet, very musky. It did remind me of another guerlain, musk. Was it the Musk Outre Blanc? It was the musky one, the clean musky one. It reminded me a little bit of that. Some people might find it a little synthetic with the sort of like woody, musky notes in there, but I actually don't mind it. I don't get any of the really scratchy aroma chemicals that I don't like. I get more musk from it, clean musk, and I really enjoy that. It's very clean, but fun with these bright florals. You've got the jasmine and the orange blossom and the rose as well. But I would, and the violet. Yeah, so you've got all these different colour florals. But I wouldn't say you're necessarily going to pick everything out, but I definitely did get the jasmine and the violet and the powderiness of the iris. And the citrus is in the opening as well, the bergamot. So my vibe for this one is a daytime fun, like going to the fair. So think of all the colours, the sights, the sounds, the smells at the fair. And I just think it would fit really well with that particular scenario. So that was Jasmine Bonheur from Guerlain. And of course it's the same price as Bois d'Harmonie because it's in the same line. So yeah, really, really expensive. Next up then, another one that I used to own, and I actually sold this, and I do regret this now, and it is Tom Ford Neroli Portofino Aqua, which came out in 2016, and it is the perfumer that did the original Neroli Portofino that we've already mentioned, Rodrigo Flores Roux. Notes are bergamot, lemon, petitgrain, neroli, orange blossom, white musk, amber wood. Don't be scared of that last one. Don't be scared, because if I like it, then don't worry. Don't worry. So did I give you the date? 2016. You can buy 100ml for £150, so it's cheaper than some of these other fragrances I've mentioned, but by far it's not a cheapie. Far from a cheapie. It's on offer at the moment on Feel Unique for £126. That's 10% off. And you can definitely find it on eBay for much cheaper. And for me, what I love about this, the reason I sold it is because I had Neroli Portofino, the original, and that was a gift. So I wanted to keep that, and I decided to get rid of and sell. And I was having a clear out. I think it might have been when Sweetie was ill and I needed some money. And so I decided to sell the Aqua. And even though I preferred the Aqua, so what's different? Most people know Neroli Portofino, and maybe not everyone's tried the Aqua variation. So don't be confused by the word Aqua. It's not an aquatic. It's actually a fluffier, powderier more floral rendition of Neroli Portofino. So it's not quite so bracing in those initial citrus notes. It's more of this clean, powdery, white musk, slightly vanillic, powdery thing. It's really, really pretty. Definitely different to Neroli Portofino. Different enough to absolutely own both, and just different feeling for each one. So I'd say that the aqua might feel more like it leans a touch more feminine, just because it's more powdery and a little more floral. But yeah, I do really like that aqua one. So I will probably be looking out for an eBay bargain. But you have to be careful on eBay, because obviously there are a lot of fakes, especially with the likes of Tom Ford, Creed, the obvious not niche fragrances are very highly copied, unfortunately. But I got a good one the last time, so hopefully I can get a good one this time around. And the vibe for this one is, I've written clean girl. Clean girl aesthetic. There's a thing, isn't there? A lot of people talk about this clean girl aesthetic. I do think it really fits with that whole vibe. But also I would say it's that perfect fragrance for after your shower on holiday and then going out in the evening. Even though it's not a particularly nighttime fragrance, I think if you're somewhere really warm and it's still warm at night, and you want to feel shower fresh and just nicely done with nothing too heavy, then I just think it's a perfect fragrance for that. So that's Neroli Portofino Aqua. And the next one is a Chanel. And we've got a few designers on this list. Well, not designers, they're upper end designers. But anyway, Chanel Monsieur, another pricey one. Chanel Monsieur Eau de Parfum, which is the version that's available now. I haven't tried the Eau de Toilette, I don't think. Olivier Polge is a perfumer. It came out 2015. You can get a bargain bottle, 200 mils for £350, or 75 mils, £200. It's quite a lot of money. It's quite a lot of money. I tried this on my skin the other day. I used to have a bottle. Again, it's another one I sold when I needed the money. And I don't regret it, because I needed the money at that time and I've lived without it quite happily. But the last few times I've been shopping, I've ended up spraying my arms with Monsieur and just thinking this is so lovely. To be honest with you, I don't need Monsieur and French Kiss. They have very similar feel. French Kiss is sweeter, more syrupy, more playful. Monsieur is like a pared back, more grown up lady perfume, whereas French Kiss is more of a girly perfume. But they are quite similar in that they have this pink fruitiness, they have this powderiness, they have the violet, they have the sweeter dry down. But Monsieur has aldehydes. I don't really think I've ever picked up on any obvious aldehydiness myself. It has lychee, rose, raspberry, peach, violet, iris, mimosa, tonka, benzoin and vanilla. And as I say, it's a bit like French Kiss, but it's just not so sweet, not so playful, a little bit more restrained, a little bit classier. It is Chanel and it feels Chanel and it's really pretty and I really like it. So yeah, I would probably, if I was to only be able to have one or the other, I think I would probably have Monsieur, because I think I would wear her more often because she's not so sweet and she's not so linear. So she does develop on your skin and change. But yeah, really, really pretty. Still a young fragrance, a youthful fragrance, but not so young as French Kiss. And my description for Monsieur is the school teacher that all the boys fancy and all the girls want to be like. Because I just think she's warm and inviting and attractive and just a little bit out of everybody's league. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be inappropriate and suggest that teachers and students should be having affairs. Absolutely not, of course. So, oh God, I'm going to get cancelled now, aren't I? the next two then are level pegging in terms of the number one spot for the next fragrance I want to buy. So in no particular order, the next one it's from Teone Reinthal and it's called Nuit. Actually, I've got the empty decant over here, so I can smell this while I talk to you. Oh, so bloody good. So this was very generously sent to me by Teone, and I have used every last single drop up. I absolutely fell in love with it. I must tell you what's in it, mustn't I? So Nuit has Japanese yuzu. Well, I can't read my writing. Egyptian neroli, Indian champaka, pink lotus, rose otto, aged Sumatran patchouli, myrrh, styrax, frankincense, and labdanum. Okay, so I'm going to give you the vibe of this now because this is such a vibe. Sexy, mysterious witch. I love this vibe. So it definitely smells. It does smell incensey to me. The florals bring one of the florals, the lotus, apparently brings this really dirtiness. So when you first spray it, you do get this sort of like dirtiness, which is difficult to describe. It's kind of like, but it's very grounded. It's kind of like earthy, but with these gorgeous florals. It's all very grounding. So it's not, despite the yuzu, what else do we have here? And the neroli, which are obviously very vibrant and sort of citrusy smelling things. I mean, I'm guessing that they lift it up, but they don't lift it up really high. They don't make it sharp. They don't make it a freshie at all. It's a grounded, darker fragrance. It's very witchy, potion-like, mysterious and sexy and carnal and everything. I mean, it's so difficult to describe, but I absolutely do need a full bottle. The only problem is it's not on Teone's website at the moment, so I will have to, I think when it comes to me buying a bottle, which I hope I can do, I will have to get in touch with Teone and see if she has any and if she's willing to sell me a bottle, because as I say, I can't find it on the website, but I know Teone sort of rotates things, so she might have some, just not necessarily listing it right now. And yeah, I really, 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 really need that. So that's my sexy, mysterious witch fragrance. And then the final one is from Andy Tower Perfumes, and it's called Le Maroc Portel. And I had a bottle of this once as well. In fact, when I first got into niche fragrances, it was one of my first niche fragrances. So it has a really special place in my heart, actually. And again, I ended up selling the bottle at a time that I needed the money. Now, the formulation has changed. So the bottle that I had was the original formula, and it was very, very strong and very, very long lasting. There's no oak moss listed. I suspect there was oak moss in the original, and since I've tried the new version, I do feel like there's a tiny bit in that, but not so much. I haven't asked Andy Tower to confirm that. So let me tell you the notes. I'm going off on tangents here. So there's mandarin, lavender, rose, jasmine, cedar, sandalwood, patchouli, wood, resin. That's all the notes listed. I think that was from Fragrantica as well. Oh no, that was on the Les Senteurs website, which is a UK stockist. 50 mils is £160. It came out in 2005. So for me, I never really picked out the lavender, but once I knew it was there, I could feel it, but I didn't find it a lavendery perfume. It was very much a rose jasmine mix with this incensey feel, with this slightly sweetened woodiness about it. When it dried down, it definitely felt like it was a bit of an oak mossy dry down. Now the new version is much less sort of like oak moss, like that kind of rooty, woody thing. I remember when I reviewed it and I said I thought it was vetiver, and I described it as singing off of the skin because it smells rooty. And Andy Tower did confirm there's vetiver in there, but I never asked about oak moss because at the time I didn't know oak moss. I didn't really recognise what oak moss smelled like. Now I do, and I feel like there was a fair dose in the original formula, which is why it really lasted. I think it held on to everything, and labdanum in there is beautiful in the mix. There is labdanum, isn't there? Oh, it's not mentioned, but I'm pretty sure there's labdanum. The dry down is, to me, is resinous. It feels incensey, but it really holds on to the rich rose and jasmine, and it is absolutely stunning. The current formulation I actually like more, only because it doesn't smell so oak mossy, rooty in the dry down, and actually it's not such a beast, because the thing with Le Maroc Portel for me was it just clung on and clung on and clung on, and it was so strong that I would get kind of like, not bored, but I'd feel like, well, it's time for a change now. You know, I've been wearing this for 10 hours. And even if you showered, you still would be able to smell it. So it was so intense that it became something I didn't pick that often, because I'm like, I like to change things up during, I like to wear something during the day and then something in the evening. I mean, and that's just how it is. So I wasn't reaching for it that much. Hence I sold it. And now I've tried the new version. I feel like the new version is slightly more simplistic, but it's still really true to what it was. And I prefer that it is not such a beast, but it still does give you a really good full day's wearing and decent projection. So yeah, that is probably going to be my next purchase. Hopefully alongside Nui, I will buy both for my birthday in September. Maybe I'll buy one in August and one in September. Who knows? I'm not quite sure how it's going to go. But they are the two that I am definitely buying. And all of the others that I've mentioned are things that I'm hopeful to buy, but not in any major hurry. So I hope you enjoyed that massively long video. And do let me know in the comments below, what are you planning to buy next for your fragrance collection? And if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. And if you want to, you can support me on Ko-fi, which will be linked in the description below as well. Bye.